What if I told you that the world's most hyped technology, the thing that's supposed to redefine work, wealth, and maybe even humanity, is failing 95% of the time and not failing quietly, failing in boardrooms, in budgets, and now in the stock market? Because this isn't a conspiracy theory, it's MIT. Their latest report says 95% of generative AI projects launched by companies bring back no measurable return. Zero. That's right, zero. Only 5% of these pilots are showing actual profit impact. And then, as if the market wasn't already nervous enough, Sam Altman, the guy running OpenAI, the company that started this entire hype cycle, casually admitted, yeah, we're in a bubble.
I mean, there is wide uncertainty, and there's also different definitions of what superintelligence is.
He didn't hedge, he didn't sugarcoat. His exact words were, "My opinion is yes." When bubbles happen, smart people get overexcited about a kernel of truth. And when the man responsible for launching ChatGPT is calling his own industry a bubble, you know something's up. Investors got spooked. Tech stocks slid. Nvidia dropped 3% in a day. Oracle fell. Palantir lost almost 10%. ARM dipped. The Nasdaq itself fell more than 1% in a single trading session. And the conversation changed. Instead of AI is the future, it became AI might be a bubble. Now here's a quick humor break because this is getting heavy. If MIT says AI pilots are failing 95% of the time, that makes AI projects less reliable than my car in high school. And that thing broke down every other Friday. At least when my car failed, it didn't take billions of investor dollars with it. So yeah, maybe hit subscribe to this channel, because unlike Fortune 500s, at least here you'll actually get a return on your investment. Let's rewind to 2 years ago when ChatGPT broke the internet. Remember that moment when everyone realized they could have a conversation with a computer that made sense? It was like discovering fire, except instead of warmth and cooked meat, we got infinite possibilities for automating pretty much everything humans do. Companies went bonkers. Every single business on the planet suddenly needed an AI strategy, and they needed it yesterday. Banks started talking about AI-powered loan decisions. Retail companies promised AI would predict what you wanted to buy before you even knew you wanted it. Even pizza chains started bragging about AI-optimized delivery routes, as if finding your house was some kind of rocket science that required machine learning to solve. The stock market went nuts, and a company that whispered the word AI in their earnings calls would see their stock price shoot up like a rocket. Investors were throwing money at anything with AI-powered slapped on the front of their business plan, even if that business plan was written in crayon on a napkin. Nvidia, the company that makes the computer chips powering all this AI magic, saw their value explode past $4 trillion. $4 trillion. That's more money than most countries make in a year, all because everyone suddenly needed their chips to run AI models. MIT didn't just look at a couple companies and call it a day. These researchers went full detective mode, interviewing 150 executives, surveying 350 companies, and analyzing over 300 different AI pilot programs. What they found was the business equivalent of watching someone try to use a Ferrari to deliver pizza in downtown traffic during rush hour. Sure, the Ferrari is an amazing piece of technology, but if you're trying to weave through narrow streets and find parking spots every 5 minutes, you're better off with a bicycle. The problem wasn't that AI technology is bad because it's incredible. The problem was that companies were trying to use it for all the wrong things. More than half of all corporate AI spending went towards sales and marketing projects. Companies spending millions of dollars to create chatbots that were supposed to charm customers into buying more stuff, or AI systems that would write personalized marketing emails that sounded like a human wrote them. Except here's the thing, most customers could tell the difference, and they didn't like it. Instead of feeling special and personally attended to, people felt like they were being manipulated by a robot, which, let's be honest, they were. Meanwhile, the AI projects that worked were doing the most boring possible jobs you can imagine.
Maybe you talk to an average 20-year-old and watch how they use ChatGPT, and then you go talk to an average 35-year-old and how they use it or some other service. And the difference is unbelievable. It reminds me of when the smartphone came out and every kid was able to use it super well, and older people just took 3 years to figure out how to do basic stuff.
Document scanning, where AI reads through thousands of legal papers or invoices faster than any human ever could. Customer service routing, where the AI figures out which department should handle your complaint before you spend 30 minutes getting transferred between 17 different people who all tell you they can't help. Supply chain optimization, where the AI figures out the most efficient way to move products from factories to stores without wasting time or money. These aren't the kinds of projects that make headlines or get CEOs exciting interviews on CNBC, but they're the ones saving companies real money and improving their operations in measurable ways. It's like the difference between buying a flashy sports car to impress your neighbors and buying a reliable truck that helps you move furniture and haul stuff for your business. But there's another layer to this disaster that makes it even more interesting. Most companies decided they were going to build their AI tools internally, from scratch. Imagine if every restaurant decided they needed to grow their own wheat, mill their own flour, and figure out how to bake bread instead of just buying bread from a bakery that's been perfecting the recipe for decades. MIT found that 2/3 of these internal AI projects underperformed expectations, while companies that partnered with specialized AI vendors had much better success rates. It's the classic mistake of thinking that just because you understand your business well, you can become an expert in cutting-edge technology overnight. Most companies have about as much business trying to build their own AI as your average person has trying to perform surgery on themselves using YouTube tutorials. Here's where the story gets weirder though. While all these official corporate AI projects are failing spectacularly, millions of employees are secretly using AI tools every single day and getting amazing results. They're using ChatGPT to write emails that sound professional instead of like they were written by a sleep-deprived intern. Programmers are using GitHub Copilot to write code faster and with fewer bugs. Marketing people are using Midjourney to create graphics that look like they were made by expensive design agencies. But because these tools are being used informally and personally, none of this productivity boost shows up in official company measurements or return on investment calculations. So you've got this bizarre situation where executives are looking at spreadsheets showing that their AI investments are complete failures, while their employees are quietly becoming more productive than they've ever been before. Then Sam Altman decided to drop a truth bomb that shook the entire tech industry. In an interview with The Verge, someone asked him directly whether AI is in a bubble, and his response was, "Yeah, probably." But he didn't just say yes and move on. He compared the current AI hype to the dot-com era of the late 1990s, when investors got so excited about the internet that they threw money at any company with a website, regardless of whether that company had any clue how to make money. Altman called it a kernel of truth surrounded by hype, which is probably the most honest thing any tech CEO has said about their own industry in years.
I wonder about this. If you could build AI, a $100 billion particle accelerator, and say you'd make decisions. You look at the data, you tell us what experiments to run, and we'll go find the stuff and do it. So you spend $100 billion doing that. Or you spend $100 billion building an infrastructure to connect into the economy.
And just in case anyone missed the point, he followed up by saying, someone is going to lose a phenomenal amount of money. Think about that for a second. The guy who runs the most valuable AI company in the world is warning investors that most of them are about to get their faces melted off by bad investments. It's like the captain of the Titanic telling passengers they might want to grab some life jackets while there's still time. The market reaction was immediate and brutal. Tech stocks started falling faster than a piano dropped from a skyscraper. Nvidia, which had been the golden child of the AI boom, dropped 3% in a single day. Oracle fell, Palantir lost 10% of its value. ARM dipped. The Nasdaq itself fell more than 1% in just one trading session, which might not sound like much until you realize that represents hundreds of billions of dollars in lost value. Suddenly, the conversation changed from AI is going to change everything to maybe AI is just another overhyped technology that's going to leave a lot of people holding very expensive bags. Now, Altman's comments weren't unexpected if you'd been paying attention to what other AI experts have been saying. Meta's chief AI scientist, Yann LeCun, has been talking about the need for AI systems to have built-in empathy and alignment with human values, warning that we're building powerful tools without thinking about the consequences. Geoffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of modern AI, has been sounding alarms about long-term existential risks, suggesting that AI could eventually become so powerful that it poses threats we haven't even thought of yet. Meanwhile, economists have been looking at AI company valuations and scratching their heads, wondering how companies with relatively small revenues can be worth more than entire industries that employ millions of people and generate massive profits. But despite all these warning signs, CEOs kept going on earnings calls and hyping AI as if it were going to solve every business problem known to humanity. Of course, OpenAI's chief financial officer had to do some damage control after Altman's comments sent shockwaves through the investment world. She went on television and tried to clarify that Altman wasn't calling AI itself a scam or saying the technology was worthless. Instead, he was pointing out that too much money was flowing into projects and companies that didn't understand how to use AI effectively. She stressed that the AI era is upon us, which is the right way to think about this situation. The problem isn't that AI is fake or useless, it's that the money is being invested in all the wrong places by people who are more excited about the hype than they are knowledgeable about the technology and its practical applications. This whole situation reminds me of every gold rush in history. When gold was discovered in California in 1848, hundreds of thousands of people rushed west, convinced they were going to strike it rich by digging precious metal out of the ground. Most of those prospectors went home broke, exhausted, and bitter about wasting years of their lives chasing a dream that never materialized. But the people who got rich during the gold rush weren't the ones digging for gold. They were the ones selling picks and shovels to the prospectors, or the ones providing food and lodging to the miners, or the ones smart enough to buy up land that turned out to be valuable for reasons that had nothing to do with gold. The same pattern is playing out with AI right now. Most of the companies rushing to slap AI-powered labels on everything they do are going to end up like those broke prospectors, but the companies that figure out how to use AI to solve real problems and improve their operations are going to dominate their industries for the next decade. So what does this mean for regular people trying to figure out where to invest their money or how to think about AI's impact on their careers and daily lives? First, stop getting excited every time a company mentions AI in their marketing materials or press releases. Just because a company says they're using AI doesn't mean they're using it well, or that it's going to make them more profitable, or that their stock price is going to keep going up forever. Instead, look for companies that can show measurable improvements in their operations. Are they cutting costs? Are they improving their profit margins? Are they automating workflows that used to require expensive human labor? If the answer is no, then their AI efforts are probably just expensive experiments that aren't going to pay off. Second, pay attention to the boring applications of AI, because that's where the real money is being made. Nobody gets excited about AI systems that scan legal documents or optimize shipping routes, but those are the tools that are saving companies serious money right now. The flashy consumer-facing AI applications get all the attention, but the behind-the-scenes operational improvements are where the real value is being created. Third, understand that the job market is changing in subtle but important ways. Companies aren't firing large numbers of people because of AI, but they're not replacing workers when they quit or retire. An administrative assistant leaves the company. Instead of hiring someone new, they implement AI tools that can handle scheduling, email management, and basic customer inquiries. A junior analyst moves on. The company uses AI to automate the data analysis and report generation that person used to do. Over time, this means fewer entry-level positions available for people just starting their careers, which could make it harder for young people to get their foot in the door and start climbing the career ladder. It's not as dramatic as robots taking over factories and putting everyone out of work overnight, but it's potentially more disruptive in the long run because it changes how entire industries recruit and develop new talent. And here's something that should make everyone pay attention. Nvidia is scheduled to report their quarterly earnings on August 27th, and that single announcement could flip the entire AI narrative on its head. Nvidia is the face of the AI boom because their computer chips power most of the AI systems that companies are trying to build. If their earnings report shows that demand for AI chips is still growing strongly, then maybe the bubble concerns are overblown and the market will rally back to its previous highs. But if Nvidia shows any signs that companies are pulling back on their AI investments, even slightly, then the bubble narrative could become a self-fulfilling prophecy that crashes the entire AI sector. Traders and investors are treating August 27th like the most important date on the calendar, because Nvidia's performance could determine whether this is just a temporary pullback or the beginning of a full-scale AI winter that wipes out trillions of dollars in market value. The truth is, we're living through one of those historic moments where a revolutionary technology is colliding with human psychology, market dynamics, and economic reality all at the same time. The AI technology itself is incredible and will probably change how we work, communicate, and solve problems for generations to come. But the way that technology gets implemented, funded, and adopted by businesses and society is messy, unpredictable, and full of mistakes, failed experiments, and wasted money. Most of the companies jumping on the AI bandwagon right now are going to fail or waste enormous amounts of money trying to figure out how to use tools they don't understand. But the companies that take the time to understand the technology, identify the right applications, and implement AI thoughtfully and strategically are going to have massive competitive advantages that could last for decades. The key is being able to tell the difference between the hype and the reality, between the companies that are building something valuable and the ones that are just riding a wave of investor enthusiasm that's eventually going to crash on the beach and leave a lot of people stranded.